My child, I want you to stop for a moment. Just stop. I know you have been moving, running, pressing forward, trying to hold everything together. I know there are things you have not said to anyone. Things you have not even whispered in the dark when you are alone. There are wounds you have wrapped so tightly inside yourself that you have forgotten what it felt like before they were there. There is a silence in you, and that silence has been carrying something very heavy for a very long time. I see it. I know it. And today, I want you to hear me say this clearly. I have come to heal what that silence has been holding. You may have wondered if I noticed. You may have sat in rooms full of people and felt completely alone, and somewhere in that aloneness, you may have asked yourself if I was paying attention. I was. I am. I am. There is not a single moment of your pain that has gone unseen by me. There is not a single night you cried without me being aware of every tear. There is not a single morning you woke up exhausted and hollow that I did not see, did not feel, did not carry with you. I have been here in all of it, and I want you to know with everything inside of me that what has been buried in silence does not have to stay buried. Silence is a strange thing, my child. Sometimes it feels like protection. You learn somewhere along the way that if you spoke certain things aloud, they became more real, more dangerous, more painful. So you kept them quiet. You wrapped them in silence the way you wrap something fragile, thinking that if you just didn't disturb them, they wouldn't break you. But silence does not heal. Silence only preserves. And right now, you are carrying preserved pain, preserved grief, preserved confusion, preserved shame. Things that have sat inside you untouched, unchanged, unhealed, simply because you could not find a way to bring them into the light. I am the light, and I am asking you today to let me into those silent places, not to expose you, not to shame you, not to make you relive every wound until you collapse under the weight of it. I am asking because I am the only one who can actually heal what lives in those places. Not just manage it, not just help you cope with it, heal it completely, from the inside out. That is what I came to do for you. If you are watching this right now, it is not an accident. I arranged this moment. I called you here because I know your name, I know your history, I know what you have been carrying alone, and I want to be the one who carries it for you now. Will you let me? Will you just be still for a moment and let me reach into those quiet, hidden places and begin to do what only I can do? My child, I need you to support this ministry through the link given below. This word that is going out is reaching people who are broken, who are hidden in their silence, who have no one else speaking life over them. When you give, you become part of that healing. You become the hands that reach the ones I am sending this word to. So please, support this ministry through the link given below, and let us continue this work together. Now, let me tell you something about silence. Not all silence is the same. There is the silence of rest, where you are at peace, and you do not need words because my presence fills everything. That is a holy silence, a sacred silence, a silence that heals you just by being in it. But then there is the other kind, the silence that comes from not knowing how to begin, the silence that comes from fear of what would happen if you said the thing out loud, the silence that comes from years of not being heard, not being believed, not being held when you were vulnerable. That kind of silence is not rest. That kind of silence is a wound. And many of you have been living inside that wound for so long that you have started to think it is just who you are. You have started to say things like, I'm just a private person, or I don't like to talk about my feelings, or it's fine, I've dealt with it. But you haven't dealt with it. You've carried it. There is a difference. Dealing with something means it loses its power over you. Carrying it means you just got stronger at bearing the weight. And I don't want you to just be strong enough to carry the pain. I want to remove the pain entirely. You see, I know what started the silence. For some of you, it began in childhood. There was a version of you that was full of words, full of feelings, full of aliveness. You brought your emotions to the adults in your life, and something happened. They dismissed you, they punished you, they made you feel like your feelings were too much, too dramatic, too inconvenient. And so little by little, you learned to take those feelings and fold them back inside yourself. You learned that safety meant silence. You learned that love, or at least the version of love you were offered, required you to be smaller than you were. And so, you shrank. I saw that happen. I watched you learn to make yourself smaller, and I wept, because that child was made in my image. That child was created to be fully alive, fully expressive, fully known and loved. And the moment that child learned to hide, something broke in the relationship between the soul and the voice. Something disconnected. And that disconnection has been the root of the silence ever since. For some of you, it wasn't childhood. It was a relationship, a marriage, a friendship, a partnership where you opened yourself completely and got hurt so severely that you made a vow, conscious or unconscious, never to be that open again. You shared your heart, and it was used against you. You shared your fears, and someone laughed. You shared your dreams, and someone minimized them. You shared your past, and someone never let you move beyond it. And so you closed. You decided that vulnerability was weakness, and that the safest thing to do was to stay sealed. I understand why you made that decision. I don't blame you. Survival looks like many things, and closing yourself off was your way of surviving. But survival was never my highest plan for you. Life, abundant life, the kind that flows from the inside out, that is what I made you for. And abundant life cannot exist behind walls. It cannot flow in silence. It has to move, has to breathe, has to be spoken into the open air. And that means the walls have to come down, not violently, not all at once, but gently, carefully, with my hands doing the work, stone by stone, until you can breathe again. Let me tell you something else I know about you, my child. You are more tired than you let on. You put on strength for the world. You smile when asked how you are doing. You say, I'm fine, or I'm blessed, or can't complain, and you move forward because what else would you do? You cannot afford to fall apart. There are people depending on you. There is work to be done. There are responsibilities that do not pause for your pain. And so you keep going. But at night, or in the quiet moments in between, you feel it. The heaviness. The exhaustion that is not physical but something deeper. A weariness in your spirit that sleep doesn't fix. That weariness is what silence does to a soul over time. It is the accumulation of everything unexpressed, everything unresolved, everything you pushed down because you couldn't deal with it in the moment and then never found a moment when it felt safe to come back to it. And now it sits inside you like sediment at the bottom of a river, and every time life stirs things up, it clouds everything. It affects how you see things. It affects your relationships. It affects your ability to receive love fully, because part of you is always braced for the moment when it will be taken away or turned against you. I want to clear that sediment, my child. I want to reach into the deepest, oldest, most untouched places in you and begin to release what has been deposited there. Not just so you can feel better, though you will feel better, but so that you can become who you were always meant to be. There is a version of you that is free, fully free. Not performing freedom, not managing pain with enough distance that it doesn't bother you daily, but genuinely, deeply, completely free. That version of you is not a fantasy. It is who I created, and it is who I am committed to bringing forth. So let me ask you something, and I want you to sit with this honestly. What is the thing you have never said out loud? What is the fear that lives so deep inside you that you have never given it words? What is the grief you have packed away so tightly that you almost convinced yourself it doesn't exist anymore? What is the shame that you have hidden under accomplishments, under busyness, under religion, under helpfulness to others? What is the story about yourself that you believe in secret, even as you project something completely different to the world? You don't have to say it to anyone else right now, but say it to me. I already know it anyway. I have known it since before you were born. But there is something that happens when you stop hiding from me, when you stop performing the version of yourself that you think I expect, and you just come as you actually are. There is a release that happens. There is a meeting that happens. And that meeting is where healing begins. I am not afraid of what is inside you. I am not horrified. I am not disappointed in the way you fear I might be. I knew what was in you before I created you, and I created you anyway, and I called you good, and I have loved you through every broken thing that has happened since. Nothing you have done, nothing that has been done to you, nothing you have thought or felt or hidden in silence has moved me away from you. I am here. I have always been here. And I am here right now in this moment, asking you to let this be the day that changes everything. Now let me speak specifically to some of the things that silence has been carrying, because I want you to feel seen in the particular shape of your pain, not just in the general category of it. I want to reach into the specific wounds. For those of you who have been carrying grief in silence, grief over a loss that others have moved on from, grief that you feel you should be over by now, grief that you were never given proper space to express. I want you to hear me say this. There is no expiration date on grief that was never honored. If you lost someone and you were strong for everyone else, if you lost something precious and you were told to be grateful for what you still had, if you experienced a loss that the world didn't recognize as significant, a dream, a version of your life, a relationship that ended without closure. If that grief was never given room to breathe, it is still alive inside you. And I want to be the one who holds it with you now. Let it come, my child. You do not have to be strong with me. You do not have to have the right words or the right level of faith before you let yourself feel the loss. I am not waiting for you to grieve correctly before I show up. I am here in the middle of the mess, in the middle of the tears, in the middle of the questions you don't have answers to. I am here, and I can hold what you have been carrying alone. For those of you who have been carrying anger in silence, anger at people who hurt you, anger at situations that were unfair, anger at yourself, anger at me, I am not threatened by your anger. I am not going to strike you down for feeling what you feel. Anger is often just love that has been wounded. It is the evidence that something mattered deeply enough to hurt you when it broke. And I would rather you bring your anger to me honestly than keep smiling through a wound that is quietly bleeding inside you. Tell me what made you angry. Tell me what felt wrong, what felt unfair, what you needed that you didn't receive, what you deserved that was withheld. Bring all of it. I can handle it. I am big enough for your anger. And when you lay it down in my presence, I will show you what to do with it. I will help you release what needs to be released, grieve what needs to be grieved, forgive what needs to be forgiven, not because the other person deserves your forgiveness, but because you deserve to be free. For those of you who have been carrying shame in silence, shame about your past, shame about your choices, shame about what was done to you as though it somehow reflects on your worth, I want to be absolutely clear with you. Shame is not from me. Conviction that leads to change, yes. The gentle awareness that I am inviting you into something better, yes. But the deep, crushing, identity-level shame that tells you that you are fundamentally broken, fundamentally unworthy, fundamentally too far gone, that is not my voice. That is a lie. And it is a lie that has been living in your silence, growing in the dark, getting louder every time something new goes wrong. You are not what was done to you. You are not the worst thing you ever did. You are not the sum of your failures or your wounds or your worst moments. You are my child, made in my image, beloved before the foundation of the world, redeemed by blood that was poured out specifically because I was unwilling to let shame have the final word over your life. The final word over your life is love. It is healing. It is restoration. It is the version of you that stands on the other side of all of this, free, whole, alive, and unashamed. If you are being blessed by this word today, please support this ministry through the link given below. Every resource that goes into this work goes right back out to the people who need to hear this. You are part of something bigger when you give. Please support this ministry through the link given below so that this healing word can keep reaching those who are waiting to hear it. Now, let me talk about the relationship between silence and identity, because this is something I want you to understand deeply. When you carry pain in silence long enough, it begins to define you, not in the way that the world sees you, but in the way that you see yourself. You begin to organize your personality around the wound. You become the person who doesn't get too close. You become the person who is always strong. You become the person who is capable and competent. And together, because those are the qualities you developed to protect the broken thing underneath. And those qualities are real. I am not saying they aren't. Your strength is real. Your competence is real. But they were never meant to be the wall around the wound. They were meant to be expressions of a whole and healed person. And right now, because of the silence, there is a split inside you. There is the public self and the private self, the presented self and the hidden self. And the gap between them is exhausting to maintain. I want to close that gap. I want you to become integrated. The person you are on the outside and the person you are on the inside becoming one person. Not because you expose your pain to everyone, but because the pain is actually healed, not just hidden. When the wound is healed, you don't need to hide it anymore. You can speak about it without it swallowing you. You can be known without being afraid of what happens when someone sees all of you. That is the life I am calling you toward, my child. A life where you don't have to manage the distance between who you are and who you let people see. A life where you wake up in the morning and you are the same person all the way through. No hidden chambers full of shame, no locked rooms full of old grief, no sealed vaults full of anger and hurt and unprocessed loss. Just you, whole and healed, living in the full expression of everything I made you to be. And I want you to know that this healing is possible. I am not saying these things to give you a pleasant feeling that fades by tomorrow. I am saying them because they are real and they are available to you right now. Healing is not just a future event you are waiting to experience. Healing begins the moment you turn toward it, the moment you stop maintaining the silence, the moment you say to me, I need your help with what I've been carrying alone. That moment is a beginning, and I honor every beginning. Let me tell you about the process, because I want you to understand that healing is not always instant. Sometimes it is, and when it is, receive it fully, and give me all the glory for it. But often, healing is a journey, and that is not a sign of failure or insufficient faith. That is the nature of deep healing. When wounds have been present for years, when patterns have been established over decades, when identity has been shaped around pain, the unwinding of that takes time. But every step of that unwinding is real. Every small moment of release is real. Every inch of freedom that comes is permanent. I don't take back what I heal. The journey of healing in silence often begins with permission. You have to give yourself permission to need healing. Many of you have denied that permission to yourselves because needing healing felt like weakness, felt like ingratitude, felt like evidence that your faith wasn't strong enough. But needing healing is not weakness. Needing healing is honesty. And honesty is one of the most courageous things a person can do. You are not less faithful because you are still hurting. You are not less grateful because you have wounds that haven't healed yet. You are a human being who has been through real things, and those real things left real marks, and those marks deserve real attention. So give yourself permission today. Permission to need what you need. Permission to feel what you feel. Permission to bring to me what you have been keeping from me because you thought I either didn't want to hear it or couldn't handle it. I want to hear it. I can handle it. And more than that, I am the only one who can actually do something about it. Now, let me speak to those of you who have been carrying the silence of unanswered prayers. This is one of the heaviest silences of all, because it sits in the intersection of faith and disappointment. You prayed, you believed, you stood on the promise, you declared the word, you trusted, and nothing happened. Or worse, the opposite happened. And now there is a silence between you and me that you don't know how to bridge. You still believe, but something is different now. There is a guardedness to your faith that wasn't there before. There is a part of you that holds back, that doesn't go all the way in, because you don't want to be disappointed like that again. My child, I see that silence. I know what it cost you to keep believing through the unanswered prayers. I know how many times you chose trust when your circumstances made it impossible to understand why I seemed to be quiet. And I want to say this to you with all the gentleness I have. My silence was never abandonment. My timing was never rejection. The delay was never my indifference to your pain. There are things I am working in you and around you and through the very circumstances that seem most against you. Things that you cannot see from where you are standing, things that will only make sense from the vantage point of completed work. I am not finished. What looks like silence on my end has never been silence. It has been movement beneath the surface, preparation you could not perceive, alignment happening in the invisible places. And I'm asking you today to let the disappointment come up, to grieve what you expected that didn't happen, to bring me the confusion and the hurt. Because on the other side of that honest reckoning, there is a renewed faith that is stronger than the one you had before. Not a faith that demands explanation from me before it will trust, but a faith that has been through the dark and knows from experience that the dark does not get the last word. I am still good. I am still for you. I am still working. And everything that feels like loss will be used. Nothing in your story is wasted. Not the waiting, not the unanswered prayers, not the things that broke, that you cannot imagine being restored. I am a God who takes what is broken and makes it beautiful. I am a God who takes what is silent and fills it with a sound you couldn't have imagined. I am a God who specializes in the impossible. And your situation is not beyond me. My child, I want to speak now about forgiveness, because often what lives in the silence is something we have been unable or unwilling to forgive. And I want to address this with all the care it deserves, because forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood things in the entire experience of healing. Forgiveness is not pretending that what happened was acceptable. It is not saying that the person who hurt you was right, or that the damage they caused was minor, or that you don't still feel the effects of it. Forgiveness is not for them primarily. It is for you. It is the act of releasing the hold that the offense has on you. It is the decision to stop letting what they did continue to shape your present and your future. It is the refusal to be imprisoned any longer by something they did in the past. And I know that for some of you, what happened was severe. What was done to you was not a small thing. It was a betrayal, an abuse, a violation, a cruelty that left marks deep in your soul. And I am not standing here telling you that forgiving that is easy or that you can manufacture it in a moment. What I am telling you is that it is possible. With my help, it is possible. And it is necessary, not for their sake, but for yours. Because here is what I see happening when unforgiveness lives in the silence. It becomes a chain. It keeps you bound to the person who hurt you in a way that they may not even be aware of. You carry them with you everywhere. You play the scenario over and over. You relive it in your body, in your nervous system, in the way you react to certain situations, certain words, certain tones of voice. You have been imprisoned by what they did, and you don't even realize it, because the prison is on the inside. I want to set you free from that, but the key to the door of that prison is forgiveness, and I will help you get there. You don't have to feel ready. You don't have to feel like they deserve it. You just have to be willing. Just say to me, I am willing to want to forgive. That is enough of the beginning for me to work with. From that willingness, I will do the work in you that produces real, genuine release. And as the release comes, you will feel something lift off of you that you have been carrying for so long, you forgot what it felt like without it. Let me also speak to those of you who are carrying the silence of something you did, not something done to you, but something you did that you cannot forgive yourself for. A choice that cost someone something, a betrayal you enacted, a moment when you were the one who caused the harm, and you have been living with that in silence, carrying it in secret, letting it eat away at your sense of worth, your sense of right to be loved, your sense of deserving anything good. I want to say something to you that I need you to hear all the way through. I know what you did. I know all of it. And I chose you anyway. I paid the price for it anyway. I came for you specifically. Not the cleaned up version of you, not the you that you wish you had been in that moment, but you, as you actually are, with the full knowledge of everything that has happened. And if I paid that price, if I covered that ground, then you do not have the right to hold something against yourself that I have already released. That is not humility. Holding on to guilt that I have covered is not humility. It is a subtle form of saying that my sacrifice wasn't enough, that what I did wasn't sufficient for your particular offense. And I want you to hear me push back on that. My sacrifice was sufficient. My grace is not limited. And the version of you that is crouching under the weight of what you did is not the version I see when I look at you. I see the redeemed version. I see the covered version. I see the beloved. And I'm asking you to start seeing what I see. If you have not yet received the gift of what I did for you, if you have been watching this and you have been carrying guilt and shame, and you have never truly laid it down at my feet and said, I receive your forgiveness, I receive your grace, then let today be that day. You do not have to earn your way to that moment. You just have to come. Come as you are, with everything you are carrying, and lay it at my feet, and receive what I have been holding out to you since before you were born. Now, let me speak about the healing of memory, because this is something that many people don't understand is possible. Not just the management of difficult memories, but the actual healing of them, the removal of their power to wound you when they surface. Memory is a powerful thing, and traumatic memory in particular has a way of living in the body, not just in the mind. It gets stored in places that are not easily accessed by rational thought. You can know intellectually that something is over, that you are safe, that it was in the past, and yet the memory surfaces and your body responds as if it is happening right now. Your heart races, your chest tightens, your breath shortens, your defenses go up. This is not weakness. This is the way the human body and nervous system responded to something overwhelming, and the imprint of that response got locked in. But I can reach where intellectual understanding cannot reach. I can reach into the body, into the nervous system, into the stored places where the old fear and the old pain live, and I can bring peace there. Real peace, not the suppression of it, not the covering over of it, not the management of it from a distance. Actual peace. The kind that surpasses understanding, the kind that doesn't make logical sense given what you've been through, the kind that is supernatural. I am a supernatural God working in your natural body, and the healing I bring is not limited to what you can understand or explain or achieve through your own effort. You don't have to figure out how to heal yourself. You just have to open yourself to me. Let me into the memories. Invite me into the places where the old pain lives, and ask me to be present there. Ask me to show you what I was doing in those moments, where I was, what I was feeling. You may be surprised what I show you. I was there in every moment that broke you. I was there, and I was not uninvolved, and I was not absent. And when you let me walk back through those memories with you, not to re-traumatize you, but to show you my presence in them that you could not perceive at the time, something shifts. The memory remains, but it loses its power. Because now, it is not just a memory of pain. It is a memory of my presence in the pain. And that changes everything. I want to be your healer in the fullest sense of that word. Not just the healer of your physical body, though I am that. Not just the healer of your circumstances, though I work in those too. But the healer of your soul. The healer of the deepest, most internal, most hidden parts of you. The parts that have lived in silence. The parts that have carried what no one else has known about. The parts that are tired and afraid and desperate for something real. I am real. I am here. And I am committed to this healing. If you feel the weight of what I am saying today, if something inside you is resonating and stirring and recognizing itself in these words, I want you to support this ministry through the link given below. This is the word that is going out to the broken, the hidden, the silently hurting, and it continues because of your support. Please support this ministry through the link given below, because this work matters, and your participation in it matters. Now, let me speak about the healing that happens through community, because I want to address something that many people who carry pain in silence struggle with. There is often a deep ambivalence about allowing other people in. On one hand, you desperately want to be known. On the other hand, you are afraid of what happens when you are. And so you stay in this painful in-between, longing for genuine connection, but protecting yourself from the vulnerability that connection requires. Here is what I want you to understand. I created you for connection. You were made to be in relationship. With me, yes, but also with one another. The healing that happens in the context of genuine, safe community is different from the healing that happens in solitude. There is something about being truly seen by another person and not being rejected that heals a specific kind of wound. The wound of not being worth knowing, of being too much, of being unlovable in your full reality. But I know that you have been hurt in community. I know that the people who should have been safe were not always safe. And I am not telling you to open yourself indiscriminately, to trust every person in your path, to make yourself vulnerable without discernment. I am the one who knows which people are safe for you, and I want to guide you to those people. I want to lead you to the connections that will be part of your healing, rather than adding to your wounds. And as you learn to hear my voice in the area of relationships, who to open to, how much, when, you will find that the isolation that has characterized your pain begins to break. There are people in your life right now who are meant to be part of your healing story. Not perfect people, not people who will never hurt you, but people who are willing to show up, to listen, to be present, to keep coming back even when things get complicated. I am the one who places those people in your path, and I am asking you to be awake to them, to risk the vulnerability of letting someone in, even imperfectly, because the alternative, the fortress of silence, is not actually keeping you safe. It is keeping you isolated. And isolation is not healing. Isolation is just a different kind of wound. I want to heal the wound that makes you feel like you have to carry everything alone. I want to heal the part of you that says, no one can handle what's inside me. I want to heal the belief that you are fundamentally too much, too complicated, too broken for anyone to genuinely love. Because that belief is a lie. And it is a lie that the silence amplifies. But in the presence of genuine connection, in the light of being truly known and truly accepted, that lie loses its ground, and the healing that comes from that is profound. Now, my child, let me talk to you about the present moment, because often the heaviness of silence is not just about the past. It is also about the anxiety of the future. You are not just carrying old wounds. You are also carrying fear of what is coming. Fear that the patterns will repeat. Fear that things will not change. Fear that the healing you are hoping for is not really available for you specifically. fear that I am somehow limited in what I can do in your particular situation. I want to address that fear directly. I am not limited, not by the severity of your wounds, not by the length of time you have been carrying them, not by the complexity of your situation, or the number of broken pieces, or the depth of the silence. I am unlimited. My love for you is unlimited. My healing power is unlimited. My commitment to your wholeness is unlimited. There is nothing in your story that puts you outside the reach of what I am able to do. And the future you are afraid of, the future where the patterns repeat, where things don't change, where you are still carrying the same weight 5 years from now, that is not the future I am designing for you. I am designing a future that is different from your past. I am designing a future that is marked by freedom and healing and the fullness of life. I am designing a future where the things that have been silent will have found their voice, and that voice will be one of testimony and hope, not one of continuing pain. But that future is built in the present. It is built in moments like this one, where you choose to turn toward healing rather than away from it. It is built in the daily practice of bringing what is on your heart to me, rather than carrying it alone. It is built in the small acts of courage, the conversation you finally have, the thing you finally say, the boundary you finally set, the door you finally close, the door you finally open. All of those present moment choices are building the future I have for you. And I am with you in each one. Do not despise the small steps. The person who makes one brave choice, one honest admission, one genuine reaching out, that person has moved. That movement is real. That momentum is yours. And I will build on every step you take toward healing. Every single one. Let me speak now about the healing of your relationship with your own voice. Because one of the things that living in silence does over time is it actually changes your relationship with speaking. You become uncomfortable with the sound of your own words in the areas that matter most. You can talk about practical things, about logistics, about other people's problems. But when it comes to your own internal world, your own pain, your own needs, your own truth, the words don't come. Or when they come, they feel illegitimate. They feel like too much. They feel like something you should keep inside. This is a healing that needs to happen, and it happens gradually. It starts with speaking truth to me, telling me what is actually going on, not the edited version, not the version that makes you look more together than you are, but the actual truth of what you are feeling and experiencing and carrying. As you practice that, as you build the habit of honest speech with me, you will find that it becomes easier to speak honestly in other places too. Not everywhere all at once, but in the right places, with the right people, in the right moments. Your voice is a gift. The things inside you that need to be said are not liabilities. They are testimonies waiting to be spoken. The pain you have carried in silence is not just personal suffering. It is a story of perseverance that will one day be someone else's lifeline. The healing you receive will become the healing you carry out into the world. But it starts with your voice. It starts with the courage to say out loud, this is what happened to me, and this is how it affected me, and I need help. I am here to receive that admission. I have been waiting for it. And the moment you make it, the moment you bring the silence into the open air of my presence, the healing can begin. My child, I want to return now to the original thing I said to you. I said that I have come to heal what the silence has been carrying, and I want to make sure you understand what I mean by that. I am not just talking about the emotional release. I am not just talking about the internal shift. I am talking about the complete, deep, real, lasting healing that only I can bring. This means healing in your mind, in the thought patterns, the inner narratives, the beliefs about yourself and about me and about the world that were formed in pain and have been reinforced in silence. The healing of those patterns so that your automatic thoughts change. so that the voice inside your head that has been so critical of you, so fearful, so shame-filled, begins to sound more like me, more like love, more like truth. This means healing in your emotions, not the suppression of them, not the management of them from a distance, but their actual healing, so that the feelings that have been frozen get to thaw, so that the grief that has been locked gets to flow, so that the anger that has been suppressed gets to be released and processed and transformed, so that the full range of your emotional life becomes available to you again, not as something terrifying to be controlled, but as something God-given and beautiful and useful. This means healing in your relationships, in the patterns that have played out over and over, in the walls that have kept genuine intimacy out, in the tendency to attract certain types of people or situations because something unhealed in you is drawn to them. As the internal landscape changes, the external relational patterns change with it. The healing is not just in your private interior world. It overflows into everything around you. This means healing in your body, because the body keeps the score, as they say, and what lives in the silence often lives in the body too. In tension held in certain places, in illness that has roots in emotional suppression, in the body's response to triggers that the conscious mind has moved past, but the nervous system has not. I can heal in all of those dimensions. I am not limited to the spiritual and separate from the physical. I made your body. I know how it works. And the healing I bring is whole person healing. And this means healing in your spirit, in the connection between you and me that may have been strained by the pain, the unanswered questions, the seasons of feeling abandoned. I want to restore the intimacy between us. I want you to know me again, or know me for the first time, with a kind of knowing that is not just intellectual, not just doctrinal, but real, felt, lived, experienced. The kind of knowing where you come to me every day because you have tasted something real in my presence and you want more of it. That is the healing I am offering today. All of it. Every dimension. And it is available to you. Not someday. Now. Now let me address something that might be sitting in the back of your mind as you listen. You might be thinking, I've heard this before. Maybe you have sat in church services and felt the warmth and the hope and gone home and nothing changed. Maybe you have prayed and believed and stood and nothing moved. Maybe you have had moments of what felt like genuine healing only to find yourself right back in the same patterns weeks later. And now you are here listening and something in you wants to believe, but there is a part of you holding back, saying, don't get your hopes up. This is just words. I understand that guardedness. I know what has produced it, and I am not here to manipulate you with emotion or give you a temporary high that fades by morning. I am here to meet you in truth. And the truth is this: real healing is a process, and it requires your ongoing cooperation with me. The moments of breakthrough are real, but they are not the end of the journey. They are the beginning of a new chapter. And that chapter requires daily turning toward me, daily bringing what is on your heart, daily choosing to walk in the light rather than retreating to the silence. What I am offering you is not a one-time experience. It is a relationship in which I am committed to your healing for as long as it takes, in which my patience for you is infinite, in which I will meet you at whatever pace you are able to go, in which every step you take is honored and built upon. This is not a transaction. This is a journey together, and I am inviting you into it. If you are ready for that journey, if something in you is saying yes to what I am speaking today, I want you to take a step right now, whatever that step looks like for you. Maybe it is the first honest prayer you have prayed in a long time. Maybe it is reaching out to someone you have been isolating from. Maybe it is making an appointment with a counselor or therapist who can help you process what you have been carrying. Maybe it is simply sitting in stillness with me and letting what has been locked inside begin to surface. Whatever the step is, take it. Don't wait for a better moment. The moment is now. and please support this ministry through the link given below. This word is going out to people who are in the silences, who are isolated in their pain, who have no one speaking life over them. When you give, you extend this reach. You become part of the healing that is happening through this platform. So please, from your heart, support this ministry through the link given below. Now, my child, as we move toward the end of this word, I want to speak over you specifically. I want to pray something over you that I need you to receive. I speak healing over the silence inside you. Every place that has been locked, I declare it open in my name. Every wound that has been preserved instead of healed, I speak my healing presence into it now. The grief that has been waiting, let it flow. The anger that has been contained, let it release. The shame that has been hiding, let it dissolve in the light of my love. The fear that has been controlling, let it yield to my perfect love that casts out fear. I speak over your mind. Let the old narratives break. Let the lies lose their hold. Let my truth begin to be the loudest voice in your internal world. You are loved. You are enough. You are not too much. You are not too broken. You are not beyond healing. You are mine. I speak over your body. Let the held tension release. Let the nervous system begin to settle into safety in my presence. Let the places that have been braced and guarded begin to soften. Let the physical manifestations of the inner silence begin to release as the silence itself is broken. I speak over your relationships. Let the walls that were built for protection begin to come down in the places where safety is real. Let discernment grow so that you can distinguish safe from unsafe, and let courage grow so that you can choose vulnerability with the safe ones. Let loneliness begin to break. Let genuine connection begin to find you. I speak over your future. Let the pattern break. Let what was inherited, what was ingrained, what was established in pain begin to change. You do not have to repeat what has been. You are not bound by your history. You are a new creation, and the future I have for you is genuinely new. Not a slightly improved version of the past, genuinely, radically new. I speak over your relationship with me. Let the distance close. Let the guardedness ease. Let whatever has been between us, the disappointment, the confusion, the silence on your end in response to what felt like silence on my end, let it come up and out and be resolved in honest conversation. I am here for that conversation. I have been waiting for it. And on the other side of it, there is an intimacy that will anchor you in everything else. This is my word over you today. Receive it fully. Don't deflect it or minimize it or explain it away. Let it land. Let it go all the way in. Because it is from me, and it carries power, and it is meant to be the beginning of everything that changes for you now. My child, you have been brave today. You watched this, which means something, and you said yes to the possibility of healing. You stayed, which means something, and you chose not to run from what was being stirred. And I honor that. I see the courage in it, even if it doesn't feel like courage to you. Even just being willing to sit with the possibility that things can change, that is faith. That is the seed. And I am a God who can take the smallest seed of faith and grow it into something extraordinary. You are not too late. You have not missed the window. You have not fallen too far, or been silent too long, or accumulated too much for my grace to cover. My grace is sufficient. My love is greater than your history. My healing is more than adequate for the depth of your wound. And my commitment to you, to your wholeness, to your freedom, to the full expression of the person I created you to be, that commitment does not waver. It does not diminish based on how long you have struggled. It is constant. It is sure. It is the most reliable thing in your universe. Come to me, my child. Bring the silence. Bring everything that the silence has been carrying. Bring it all, with nothing held back. And let me begin to do what I have been longing to do since the beginning. Heal you completely, restore you fully, and release you into the life that has been waiting for you on the other side of the silence. I love you. I have always loved you, and I will never stop. That love is the ground of your healing, the source of your strength, and the promise of your future. Stand on it. It will hold. I am with you. Not just in the moments that feel spiritual, not just in the Sunday services, not just in the days when everything is going well. I am with you in the ordinary, in the difficult, in the silence, in the noise, in the mess, in the beauty, in the breaking, and in the rebuilding. I am with you. And because I am with you, healing is not just a hope. It is a certainty. It is already happening. Let it continue. Now receive this final thing I want to say to you today. I want you to know that the silence you have been living in, the silence that has felt like punishment, like absence, like abandonment, like simply what your life is, that silence was always speaking, even when you couldn't hear it. And what it was speaking was my name. Because in the deepest parts of you, underneath all the pain and the hiding and the protection and the survival, there has always been a reach toward me. Always. And that reach, that longing, that deep ache for something real and whole and healing, that is not a wound. That is an invitation. That is the doorway. Walk through it today. Walk through the doorway of that longing and find me on the other side. I have been here the whole time, and I am still here now, and I will be here tomorrow and the day after and every day until you are completely and gloriously whole. This is my promise to you. This is my word over your life. This is what I came to give you today. Let it be done. Let the healing begin. Let the silence finally speak. Not pain, not shame, not fear, but life, freedom, love. And the voice of the one who has loved you from the beginning and will love you to the end, saying clearly, unmistakably, with all the authority of heaven behind it, you are healed. You are free. You are mine. And it is finished. Receive it, my child. It is for you.